This is Pablo Trapero. I'm here at TIFF introducing, premiering Worldwide and Sons. It's a movie that it's based on David Gilbert's novel with the same name. It talks about the reincarnation from an all-star writer with his sons, and through that, that this is the core of the story. This reencounter, but mostly it's about legacy and communication. Yeah, I mean, when I first read the first draft was written by Sarah Polley, based on the novel. So I first read the screenplay, and I loved it. Then I went back to the novel, and I started rewriting it. And what I like the most is exactly what's been untold, right? Because there is a lot of talking and a lot of dialogues between these characters. But I felt that was talked to me was that the fact that they were unable to communicate one another, right? Even when you have very long scenes of people talking, right? And trying to communicate each other. What I like the most is how difficult it is for them, and so how for us, the viewers, to express ourselves properly and to translate our thoughts into words. And I believe that translates also universally. The novel was originally set on New York. When rewriting, I thought that I did want to move it into somewhere more abstract, and we shot it finally in the outskirts of Oxford, in a place that could look like whatever place in a countryside, trying to be focused on these family dynamics and the challenge that is for all of them to be ready to be honest and capable to tell what's truth, and for us, the viewer, to identify what's real and what's not.
I play Andy Dyer, who's the kind of half-brother of the other two sons, and he's a bit estranged from the rest of the family as they all sort of, at a certain period, abandoned Andrew and Andy. And so it's a very sort of intimate and dysfunctional relationship he has, sort of being left alone in the house, in this huge house in the middle of nowhere, with his father. And he's struggling. I think he's coming to the end of his time dealing with that. I think he's a bit fed up of it. There's some twists and turns in this film, but I think that ultimately it's not about that. It's about having a conversation about family and forgiveness, and whether people can really change, and nature v nurture, and the insanely complicated dynamics of a family, and especially one with some dysfunctional people. And so I think it's a super interesting concept. There's definitely some interesting topics that are discussed, but I think at its heart, it's just a really good, discovery of family and what it means to be related to someone, what that comes with, and all the burdens of that.
I mean, without spoiling the plot and stuff, I think one of the thing I like from it, I mean, all of them, all the characters, not only the Andrew, the patriarch, and the boys, but also Isabel, for example, Imelda's character, is that they are all trying to learn what had happened, right? I mean, and why they are stuck in this kind of nonsense. And for some moments there is some surrealism, right? Like it's larger than life kind of thing. And what I like is that if you take some distance, and I believe that was we learned, for example, yesterday on the premiere by the audience reaction, is that even when it can sound, far from your own experience, from your own relationship with your siblings or fathers or mothers or whatever, is yet talking to. He's talking about the nonsense of some dynamics in life. I mean, of course, in this case, you can point it at father and son or brothers or whatever. But what I feel like is interesting is that when you translate that into your relationship with your boss or with your relation with some friend from whatever, the tennis or so. And how life sometimes became so absurd that you are talking the same language, you are sharing a bunch of time, probably years with someone, and suddenly you realize that you don't know who he is or who she is. And then you start trying to put things together to figure out what had happened. I mean, and that's, as we know, very, very, I mean, we face this, in a family, but also with a couple or with a friend. So suddenly you learn that you don't know these people, you don't know them, and you have to learn, and you have to start all over again, right? And that also, even when it's crazy, is the beauty of life, that you are never there. You have to keep learning, you have to keep moving, you have to keep investing yourself into build a relationship with someone. It's nothing is given for granted. It depends on your dynamics and also your honesty on it, and how open you are to be yourself in a relationship, and also giving the freedom to the one in front of you to be themselves, right? And that is exactly in this, mostly in a father and son relationship, that is always complicated, right? Because as a father, you're supposed to be taking care of your kids, but also giving them freedom to be who they want to be or who they might be being or whatever. So there is always this complex limits between freedom and boundaries, and that applies, I believe, to every kind of relationship.
You mentioned that the premiere was yesterday. How was that?
It was wild.
It was great. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I really like TIFF. Like, out of the bigger festivals, it feels like the one where people are actually here to see the films and not like for the parties and for all of that. It feels like people actually care, and there's passion and excitement about seeing and supporting these films. So I really like it here. I've been a couple of times before when I was a kid, so coming back, in all the same places, same hotel, it's like nostalgic for me. So I've had a great time.
Yeah, actually, as a fun fact, we finished the print on Friday. I flew. Yeah, we were sleeping over the mixing room for some nights before we finished, and so I flew from Barcelona on Saturday, and we premiered the movie on Sunday, and it was very, very crazy, the reaction and the reception, because honestly that was the first time I saw the movie like in a row, seated without just paying attention on whatever notes you are doing on the mixing or whatever other process. And I did really have fun, mostly because somehow the audience make me forget about whatever technical things. You are always paying attention when finishing a print, and as Noah says, I mean, audience here is so into digest what's being offered, right? Some other places or some other festivals, somehow you feel like you have to deliver what they are expecting, or what, audience is already telling you what they want. And here at TIFF, I've been here many times. Actually, all my movies had been screened here from '99. That was the first time I was here. And I always have the same feeling of, having a honest relationship, talking about honesty with the audience, not people that is ready to see what's there for them, and not trying to force, that movie into their taste, but the opposite, trying to understand what's being offered and what we are developing on the screen in front of them. And that makes the experience very, very different. And in this particular case, yesterday was unbelievable, the way that they were from the very first moment into what was offered, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of laugh, but also you can tell some people were crying, and also it was fun for me to watch on the other side of the screen and to see someone laughing, and right behind this guy someone crying, and that was really moving for me, because not only because I just saw the movie for the first time, but because I see the reaction, and an honest connection with what we have for the audience here with Unsun. So I'm so pleased and thrilled.
that's it for the questions. Thank you so much for
Thank
doing
you
this.
very much.
Thank you, guys.